Welcome to Be Green with Amy. I'm Amy. After adopting a whole food plant-based lifestyle, my hubby Rick and I lost over 130 pounds. Now I coach others on their plant-based journey. Just Task Voice. Let's welcome our guest.
Jennifer Diamond is in the process of becoming certified as a plant-based nutrition coach. On social media, she shares whole food, plant-based, SOFAS-free, no sugar, oil, flour, alcohol, or salt, gluten-free recipes and cooking tips, fitness workouts, product reviews, and more. Please click like to help Be Green with Amy. Welcome, Jennifer Diamond.
Greetings and welcome, Jennifer.
Hello, beautiful people, and hello, Amy. It's so great to be here again with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, I'm so glad that you're here. Carrie says she's excited. Oh, here's plant-powered peddler Janet. Hey, Jennifer. Hi, Amy. Greetings. Janet. Oh, so we're already having people coming in. I'm so glad. And oh, Broccoli. Hello. Greetings, Broccoli. Yeah, go ahead and chime in the chat and tell us where you're watching from and say hi. Hey, Jess. Greetings. And Roxy. Greetings, Roxy. Oh, I love when all the Green Warriors chime in and say hello or tell us where they're viewing from. It's so exciting to have you back, Jennifer.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to see everyone in the chat also. And so, yeah, I'm excited to share all kinds of fun things about, what's been going on with me and how I'm navigating osteoporosis.
Yes, you've been navigating quite a few things in your life. And on the last broadcast, you shared all that with us. But you are, every time I see you on social media, and I don't see you for everything that you're doing, but whenever I do see you, you're wearing this vest. You know, so you are really promoting, and for anybody that isn't familiar with that, Jennifer's wearing a weighted vest because this is something that's part of what she's doing to help her with her osteoporosis. And so it's like you're the spokesperson for this. So we needed to have you come back on and just specifically talk about that. And I'm so glad that you are, because osteoporosis is just something that either you're a woman that has it, or you know somebody that has it, or you're worried about you getting it or someone else. And it seems that it's just more and more prevalent, and there's just not enough information out there.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it is something that I am working on. And so I know that I'm on the right track here, and I want to share everything that I can with everyone. I have a bunch of stuff that we could talk about here. And I also have a little small presentation just to kind of share that part of my story that I haven't shared before. And so however you want to do this, I'm game. I am wearing one of my vests, and I have my original here, so we could talk about that. And I got stuff on my wrists and all kinds of stuff always happening, trying to improve my bone health.
Well, you are very proactive, and that's what my Green Warriors are all about. And a lot of the people that tune in are talking about their lifestyle. And I talk about eating whole food plant-based because that is the optimal way to eat for health. But there's so many other pillars of health that we need to talk about when it comes to trying to combat or manage or even reverse some conditions such as osteoporosis. So you are just so proactive, and that's what we need. We need a champion to show us, you're going to fight this. You're not going to let it get the best of you. You're going to win. And you're going to show us, because you have had this and you've had other things going on with your health. You've done a lot of research, and you know what works and what doesn't work. And you're honing in on the things that are working, and you're actually getting that feedback from your tests and things that you go through with your health, that you're seeing that these things are working. And so we want to know more about that. It's kind of osteoporosis is kind of a scary thing, because you're supposed to exercise, but then you have to be careful. So you're going to tell us a lot about that too. And also, as a bonus, you're going to be doing a recipe demo. So give us a little hint. What are you going to be baking today?
Yeah, I wanted to share a little recipe because, like you mentioned earlier, whole food plant-based is the way to eat for health and wellness. And so I just wanted to show something that I do that can be modified, that's simple, and that can help with bones, with life in general, with health. And so I'm going to be making an easy summer slaw. If we have time, I'm going to be making some hummus just to show you how simple it can be, and then taking it all and putting it into a collard wrap and having a delicious, easy meal anytime.
That is awesome. And I want to let everybody know that the recipe is going to be in the show notes. So don't worry about it. And we will get you that recipe. So just relax and enjoy. And you can take notes if you want to, but you can always watch the replay too, because there's going to be a lot of valuable information. So I think that we'll start by talking about maybe your journey with osteoporosis so that people can learn about how it affects you and what you do. And we're also, of course, Green Warriors, going to have our famous true or false game, and we'll start that whenever Jennifer thinks it's a good time to do that. Is that all right with you, Jennifer?
Yeah, sure. We can do that anytime. You let me know, and I do have a little presentation so I can put it up on the screen whenever you're ready, and hopefully everybody will be able to see it.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so, well, do you want to, before you do the presentation, do you want to tell us a little bit about your story, or how do you want to do that?
The presentation is my story.
Excellent. So
So
let's bring that
let's
up.
start there. Yeah,
Yes,
perfect.
we're
Okay.
going to go to click present and share that to your screen.
Okay.
So on the bottom of your screen, you'll click on present, and then
Okay.
you'll say share screen.
Okay. And can you see
Oh,
that?
yes. Oh, beautiful. You know, it seems like Jennifer has some help.
I do have my partner in crime, and I'm so grateful for that.
And we are
Um,
grateful too.
yeah, yeah. So,
All right, I'm going to
anyways,
put that up. I'm going to put your presentation up so we can take a look at it.
oh, okay, okay.
There you go.
There we go. So you let me know when you're
Yep,
ready, and
I
I'll.
am ready.
Okay. So this is my journey so far navigating osteoporosis. Um, I was always into fitness, from dance to aerobics and weights. But when I entered my 40s, I learned I was dealing with osteopenia and eventually osteoporosis. I had been sick most of my life, dealing with allergies and chronic sinus issues, which had me taking lots of medications and steroids like prednisone. I went to an infectious disease specialist who found parasites and more sinus trouble, but who also thought I should have a DEXA scan to get a baseline of my bone density. A DEXA scan is a way to measure the bone. It's like an X-ray, but even simpler. And the rays are a low dose that passes through the body. I've had my hips, spine, wrists all scanned. I have also had to request having both hips, both sides, because sometimes they only scan one side of the body. And I think it's really beneficial to have both sides done so you can get a more accurate result. And that would include my wrists as well. The scan is measuring how much radiation is absorbed by the bones. The bone density results are then compared to an adult about the age 25 to 30 years old, that's the same gender and race, and they call that the T-score on your results. They also measure the scan results to comparable age, gender, and race of your own age, your own gender and race, and they call that the Z-score. The normal bone building process is based on cells that are called osteoclasts and osteoblasts. Osteoclasts are the breakdown of old and damaged bone tissue, so it can be replaced with new, healthier cells, which are called the osteoblast. The osteoblasts form new bones and add growth to existing bone tissue. Now, after my first DEXA scan, I learned that I had osteopenia. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but I was recommended to begin a 5-year course of a medication called Fosamax. Fosamax at the time worked by slowing down the process of breaking down the old bone so that the new bone has more time to rebuild normal bone. Now, while I was on Fosamax, I was required to take it on an empty stomach with a full 8-ounce glass of water every morning and then sit up for 30 minutes. Now, if I laid down, somehow the medication could end up burning my esophagus, or so I was told. Like a good patient, I listened to everything the doctors and the pharmacists said to do and did it perfectly for best results. Boy, did I have a lot to learn. About halfway through the 5-year term of being on Fosamax, I heard a news report that Fosamax was somehow causing women to have broken femurs, jawbone death, which is also known as osteonecrosis. I hope I said that right. Severe muscle, jaw, and bone pain are a few more side effects. And this is without any warning or reason. So I questioned my prescribing doctor about this at my next appointment, and he assured me that it was wrong. He said he hadn't seen it in the research and that the news report was probably making this up and that it was very safe for me to continue taking it. And so I did. My scan did improve from the medication and weightlifting. And I was also told to take vitamin D, calcium supplements, as well as drink dairy milk, eat yogurt and cottage cheese, and add the strength training, which I was doing. And that would all help strengthen my bones, is what they said. Now, at the 5-year mark, I was told to take a holiday from the drug, as it had some adverse effects, and taking a few years off was recommended. But then I would be put back on it after this holiday. I was never declared cured of my osteopenia or osteoporosis. I also never went back on the medication after that holiday. Around 2019, while on a whole food plant-based diet, but not eating the right amounts or variety, I became very anemic and deficient in many levels in my blood work. It was recommended that I take an iron supplement and added a weighted vest and hand weights to my exercise program. And I did just that. In addition to wearing my first weighted vest, I was also placed on hormone replacement cream and an oral progesterone for dealing with changes due to perimenopause. I wore my weighted vest daily while walking my dog. I even held a 2.5-pound weights in each hand while walking to help my wrists build up the bone mass. I also began doing some specific exercises and weights geared towards increasing bone in the hips. I wasn't really doing a lot of back exercises at that time, but I figured I was doing a fine job until I had another scan. And at that time, I learned that my spine actually got worse, but my hips increased by 7% in 1 year, which is huge. And it took me out of the osteoporosis category, and the hips became osteopenia. And I knew that the hip exercises were one of the main reasons I was improving. And it was just great improvement. So I was glad, but I thought I still needed to get out of the osteopenia category as a diagnosis. But later, I learned that osteopenia is actually normal for women to fall into after childbearing age. The Western medical world made me feel like something was wrong with me for having osteopenia, instead of allowing me to understand that this is a normal part of aging. I continued working on everything the doctors told me to do while still dealing with other things like thyroid issues, sinus issues, allergies, anemia, and so on. I also felt that I had no other choice at the time but to go back on the standard American diet, and so I did. But nothing changed for me regarding any of my issues, and my bone density was now in the osteoporosis category. In July of 2021, I saw an endocrinologist who thought that my DEXA scan was in the severe category, and she was concerned. She saw that I was wearing a weighted vest, I was taking vitamin D and calcium supplements, but she was really pushing me to consider a very expensive daily injection called Forteo, I'm not sure how to pronounce that correctly, but it is a medication that someone can only take one time in their lives, she explained, for a total of 2 years, and then they have to stop it altogether. She said there were not very many side effects, But then she said I would need to do the injections in my abdomen daily, and it can cause dizziness and kidney stones. She said that it would create healthy bone, not abnormal bone like Prolia, which is another injection. She said that after 2 years of doing that, she would like to see me back on the Fosamax for several more years, and then do a 2-year holiday for basically forever. I decided not to go that route. That doctor also suggested that I go to a physical therapist who specialized in osteoporosis, and that I did. They had me doing all kinds of exercises, and at the end of each of their sessions, I was told to stand on a vibrating plate for 10 minutes. This particular plate was called the Meridian Vibration Device. Then about a month later, I was vaccine injured, and I went undiagnosed for a whole year. I became bedridden for 14 months, and my life was just not my own anymore. I had so many more medical issues, so building bone was not really possible. I knew in the back of my mind that my bone density was probably getting worse, but I was also unable to address it. I just knew I would try and put it off as many of those scans as I could. So if you have heard my story, you will know that I finally did decide to go back on eating whole food plant exclusive on August 22nd of 2022 again to lower my climbing cholesterol numbers, since I was scheduled to have a blood test 3 weeks later. I had turned to Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn's Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease cookbook, and within 3 weeks of making that change, I dropped my cholesterol over 50 points, among other things. The whole food plant exclusive eating was healing me, and I was slowly able to move my body again. And eventually I started wearing my weighted vest again. I tried to wear it with 5 pounds in it as recommended by one of my plant-based doctors, but I ended up injuring myself. It was just way too heavy for me during those weak early days of healing. So I had to back off, heal a little, and begin again with the recommendation of my then fitness coach, Angela Fischetti. I began wearing the vest without any weights at all, just the vest. And that vest weighed 1 pound when it was empty. And over the course of a good solid year, I finally got weights in the vest up to 10.5 pounds. And I wore it from 4 to 8 hours per day, 5 to 6 times a week. And that is why I really like a vest that has weights that you can remove and customize it to fit your own personal needs. I have not had another scan yet, but I know I'm stronger. I can lift, bend, climb, jump, carry things, even do the monkey bars at our local park, which I could never even do as a child, and more. I do compound weight-bearing exercise, and I am confident things are improving. I'm strong now. I will have another scan in the future, but for now, I'm eating foods that are not acidic. I'm moving my body and enjoying a dose of sunshine each day and wearing my weighted vest. I now wear a weighted belt and wrist weights when I can. Dr. McDougall even says the bones get strong from the tissue around them, and that is good to strengthen. Progressive muscle resistance training with weights can help build bone density and reduce the risk of fractures. Now, after being on those hormones for 5 years and with all my health improvements, I asked my medical doctor to help me wean off the hormones. I was told it was important to stay on them for bone health support, but for me, I decided my body was smart and I wanted to get off them, which I finally did. Now, here's a short list of foods that are high in calcium to naturally help support bone growth, which I like to eat. And of course, it's not the only thing, but calcium foods like figs and spinach, kale, collard greens, mustard greens, butternut squash, moringa leaves, broccoli or broccoli rabe, or is it rib? Broccoli rabe. Thank you so much. Navy beans, tofu, edamame, soy milk, sweet potatoes, chia seeds, sunflower seeds, and almonds. And that's just to name a few of them. Bones don't grow or change quickly. And so it could take a year or two before a DEXA scan even shows improvement. Our bones are living and they're porous. They look like coral under the ocean, but when you have osteoporosis, the small holes become bigger and bones can break easier. Not all people will get this diagnosis. Some people and some cultures don't commonly get osteoporosis because they're active, lifting and tending to land, or doing things that naturally strengthen their bones and eating the right foods. But both men and women can get osteoporosis. But it's more common in women, especially after they hit perimenopause and menopause. Now, this is because after childbearing years, the body doesn't need to store the same levels of calcium and other minerals that it builds up to provide a growing fetus and deliver a newborn. So the body flushes it out over time, which can result in weakening bones. We all need to care for our bones, and eating a whole food, plant exclusive, SOFAs free, gluten free lifestyle allows me to care for and strengthen my bones. Resistance training with weighted vests, belts, wrist dumbbells, resistant bands, and weight machines when I can are all important for me for optimum bone health. I also like to hike, jump rope. I like skipping, hopping on one foot at a time, and even jump high and hard to stimulate the bone growth. I do a minimum of 3 days a week of weight training, but I think I should probably even do more. I wear a weighted vest, and I also just recently began wearing this weighted belt and wrist weights. And so I just wanted to thank you so much for allowing me to share my bone health story with you, Amy, and your Green Warriors. And these are some places you can find me on social media. And so, yeah, I'm happy to show you how I use the belt and vest and things, or answer questions.
Oh, how nice. Everybody, click like to show your appreciation. That was a wonderful presentation. I love the graphic about the osteoblasts and the osteoclasts. And something that I'm very interested in learning about osteoporosis, one, because I'm a coach, but also because I'm a petite, thin woman. I wasn't always, guys, but I did adopt this lifestyle in 2012 and I got thin. But anyway, we're more at risk than other people, perhaps. So we really have to be proactive. So I got curious about it. And you were talking about the osteoblasts and the osteoclasts, right? And
Yes.
it can get a little bit confusing. So you made a really cool graphic about it. And the osteoclasts, they're specialized cells, and what they do is they break down the bone tissue, right? So I like to think about it like people may relate to when you're building muscle and they say, okay, on this day you should work on your biceps, but don't do your biceps the next day because you need to let your biceps heal. So you'll do maybe your abs the next day and keep cycling different areas of the body so that those muscles can heal. So what happens is, and I'm not a physical exercise expert, although our mutual friend Angela Fischetti from Boomer and Beyond Wellness, who has been on this show several times and even has shown special exercises for osteoporosis, and now you're training with her, she has talked about muscle building and also healthy bone building. But what happens is when you are, let's say you're working out your biceps, right? They actually tear micro tears as you're lifting those weights. And then when you let them rest for a day or so, your body fixes those tears and then you get a bigger muscle. And you just keep tearing it. Your body says, oh, let's fix it. And it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, while you're doing that, the same thing is happening to your bones because you're making these micro fractures in your bones. And when you make those little fractures because you jumped a little bit or you hopped or or all the different things, that almost everything that you're doing to build muscle is also doing the same thing to your bones. And so then it's going and what it's doing is it's filling in those little cracks with more bone. But what does Fosamax do?
That was so cool. Thank you so much. I even loved hearing how you shared that. And yeah, so when you get the breakdown of the muscle, right? It's the muscle tissue is attached to the bone, so they all work together. And what does Fosamax do? Well, I think that it's been looked at again, but at the time it was supposed to slow down. The time that I took it, it was supposed to slow down the breakdown part, and so that the buildup had a chance to really build up. And so I believe, this is my opinion, that I got kind of a false sense of strong bones, because I've even heard that the scan has shown that, yeah, you've got strong bones here. Look, the scan is showing that it's been building up, but inside it could even be hollow, or it's just abnormal bone tissue because it's not working the way I believe that it's supposed to in the natural formation. So by just challenging it, and right with smaller, more petite people, that's why it's important to add some weight. Well, I don't want to add weight by putting it on my hips and eating it that way, an unhealthy way. But if I add it to my wrists, to my ankles, to other places on the body, then it causes my bones to have to work harder. The muscles got to hold it up. And I know that it's working because, like I had mentioned at first, I couldn't even wear a vest with anything in it. And so, yeah, so hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, so it almost seems like, we're not medical doctors, right? And we're not giving any kind of advice. You should always talk to your physician for advice, but it almost seems like it's counterintuitive that they're prescribing a medication that is interfering with the very process that your body is trying to make these fractures and fill them in, make these fractures and fill them in, and constantly make your bones stronger. And it seems like that's interfering with it. So it doesn't make sense to me. So hopefully we're going to learn about what you have figured out what to do, and learn more about it. Now, you're going to talk to us about the weighted vest, and I want everybody to listen to this because it's important. I know that Angela Fischetti from Boomer and Beyond Wellness had said, and I think I remember, but you can correct me if I didn't not remembering correctly, that you shouldn't add more weight in that vest than is 10% of your body weight. Is that still what she's recommending?
Yes, yes. I worked with Angela. I'm not currently working with her. I recommend her. She's fabulous.
She is.
But I did work with her, and yes, you should only a certain percentage, 10% of your body weight, because there is a point, right? You've got to be careful, and you want it to be helpful and not harmful. And another tip is, if you are going to wear a weighted vest, try to put a slightly more weight on the back side than on the front side, because we're working the spine area. We don't need to work our tummy area for building bone. And so I try to have just a little bit more on the back side, as well as I try to be very aware of my posture, right? Because if you're wearing a weighted vest or wearing something and you're sitting in a desk, or you're walking and you're looking at your phone and you start to do this slouchy thing, well, that's not good. You don't want to put extra pressure in the wrong way. So I look at the sky when I walk, and I try to really have a nice posture while I'm wearing it. And so that's another thing to just be aware of.
Well, that's good, because we all want to work on our posture, especially now where people are getting what they call tech neck, because we're leaned over our devices so much. So this is kind of making you more aware of holding your head up and working on your posture, so that you're getting a little win-win there, I guess, huh?
Yes. And I just want to go back for a minute when you were talking about the drugs. There's all kinds of different drugs. I just happen to have been offered Fosamax. But a question, if you are considering doing this, and of course, everybody is their own individual, like whatever works for you, right? We're not giving advice, but one question that I would ask now if I were considering it or just learning about it is, what percentage is this going to fix, or help me? And I've read that the percentages, although I don't recall exactly what it is, they're very low. And so it makes me question, are the DEXA scan companies and the pharmaceutical companies kind of working together to find people that might be susceptible? Maybe you don't even need to be on these. Maybe you do. But do all of us, the majority, need to be on these? Or is this kind of a money thing? I don't know. Just food for thought. It's my own personal thinking that I'm just sharing with you.
Yeah, yeah, and people can tune in. I'll put the link for the other broadcast that you did with us, where you told your life journey and your health story, because you had other confounding conditions that you were battling with. So you've had a lot of experience with the healthcare industry in navigating it and figuring out for yourself, how to heal. So that's from somebody that's been through a lot. You definitely have a good advice with that. So, but yeah, I'm just looking at some of our comments here, because I wanted to see okay, so let's see. Mona said hi. Oh, Broccoli said that is coming from Canada. And Mona said, hello, Amy and Jennifer. Greetings, Mona. And Roxy wanted to know, is the DEXA scan the same as the bone density scan?
Yes, I believe that it is. The DEXA scan is the name of it, and it might even be shortened name, but it's the same thing. Yes, it's the scan that measures your bone density, the bone density scan. So
yeah. Oh, and Marley said, yoga's helped me so much for my posture. Yes, yoga is a wonderful thing to do. And I think if somebody is a beginner at exercising, even Angela has come on the show and she's done chair yoga. So, you can really start at the very beginnings of these exercises and work your way through.
I would just want to say about yoga. There are so many different exercises that people can do, right? Yoga and swimming and, even meditation and weight bearing and all these different ones. But some of them aren't good for bone health. It's not that they're not good, they're just better for other things. And so because we're talking about bone health, I just want to say that like swimming, I used to try to do a lot of swimming and do a lot of cardio things, ride my bike. And those are great for getting the heart rate going and that kind of stuff. But they're not good for building bone. Building bone really needs to be stimulated by pressure, by some kind of weight-bearing exercise. So I just want to throw that in there so that people don't, think that if they do yoga or they do Pilates or something that it's going to help with the bones. It's definitely going to help, but I would also recommend adding in weight-bearing exercises too.
Right, because we want the bones to have some kind of an impact on them. And when you're in the pool, you're losing the gravity, so your bones aren't really getting much impact with them. And then the yoga is wonderful for stretching, but there again, you're not getting that impact. I also noticed in your PowerPoint that you had, well, they call it a rebounder, but you had a mini trampoline in your exercise room. I just got one. And I'm so excited.
They're so fun. I really like that. That's another thing that's really great is working on balance. Believe it or not, balance is a really important component for building bone and strength. Now, it's not going to build your bone, but if you have your balance doing is really good. And one way to do it is on the rebounder. Then, it's kind of like a fall prevention. And so that's something that we really want to work on as we age. Sometimes we can, get a little bit off on our balance because things are weak. And when we don't have our balance and we're weak, then we can fall and then we can get fractures. And if our bones aren't strong, they can be big, big bone fractures and big problems. So,
Yep. Yep. If we want to prevent falls, right?
yes,
So, and for the most part, we usually just walk forward.
that's
That's
true.
about all we do.
Yes,
We don't walk sideways very often, and we definitely don't walk backwards.
right.
And so oftentimes people can lose their balance, and because their body isn't trained to go in all these different planes of movement, oftentimes they when they lose their balance, they could definitely fall. And if you have osteoporosis or a risk for it, then that's the thing you want to avoid. So it's a great thing that you're doing these exercises not only to build your bone, but also to work on your sense of balance and stability.
Yeah, and I think yoga is a really good place, right? Like tree pose or dancer pose, some of these poses where you are working on balance. So I love yoga, but I just wanted to share earlier about the weight part of it.
Yeah, yeah. So really, it would be best to incorporate all these different modes of exercise because we all can use cardio as long as our doctor says it clears us to do it. So, we're definitely not saying not to do it. And I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Corpy said, I think yoga would also be help strengthen core strength and synergetic movements between muscles, which could help to allow you to wear weights injury free for bone health. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah. Oh, and Lee said, I am cleaning up my place to make room for my mini trampoline.
Yay. That's
That's
awesome.
Oh, that is so awesome, yeah, and Marley said, "I've been meaning to get a trampoline." Yep, I've been thinking about it for a long time, and I tell you, when you get on that trampoline, of course, you have to be careful if you're not physically fit, you wanna go slow, and there again, I'm not an exercise, specialist. What I have seen people talk about, and you probably should talk to Angela Fischetti with Boomer and Beyond Wellness more about it, but that they get something steady to hold on to while they're standing on the trampoline, and then they just kinda lift their heels up and down just to
Yes,
get right,
I
just to get
actually
started.
yeah, I have a bar that attaches to it,
Mhm.
and some
Yeah,
of them are like you can get that attachment, and that's really important. Even if I don't need to use it, I
yeah,
like to have it because every once in a while, if I find myself teetering, I'll go and grab onto it, and that's really great.
yeah,
Yeah.
and of course, if you really got advanced one day, you would be using it to, like, put your legs up in the air and do this. Yes, so I had the one with the bar too, and I think of myself, one day maybe I'll be jumping up
Woo!
and my legs will be going out. I saw somebody where they took a sturdy stepladder and they put it next to their trampoline so that this way and they faced it backwards, and this way they could have something to hold on to. So, definitely make sure that you're okay if you decide to do this, make sure you're cleared with your doctor to do it and start off slow with any exercise, right? We should all start off slower than we think we need to, because if you injure yourself, then you can't do it anymore, and that's no fun, right?
Yeah, and in fact, that was really hard for me when I couldn't do the 5 pounds because my memory, I remember lifting. I remember being in a different place than I was at that point. And it was really hard for me to admit to myself that that's not where I am right now. And it
Mhm.
was okay, right? I just had to realize I'm not there. I can get there again. And I also am working on where I am now. I don't want to go back and be where I was, back in my early years of life. I want to progress this direction forward. But you got to just be patient with yourself. And even if I remember when I could, bench press or I could lift this X amount of weight and I can't now, that's okay. Make that maybe, a direction to go towards and just realize where you are and nurture and love yourself where you are. Try not to beat yourself up because you're not where you were or where you think you should be or where everybody else in society is. just be kind to yourself like you would be to a friend or small child or something. I just want to remind people to be kind to themselves.
Oh, well, thank you for reminding us about that. That is so important, and you're so right. And you'll get there, small improvements, you'll make it just like anything else. If you had to go through high school or college or or raise a family, it's not just something that happens overnight. It's little steps day by day, and then all of a sudden something has been accomplished. So it's really important to consider that. I think maybe we should play. And Marley said, "I love that Jennifer is so true to be compassionate with ourselves." Yeah, that's so very true. Do you want to do our true or false game?
Sure. You guys
Okay.
ready?
Yeah, get ready.
It's time for True or False on Be Green with Amy Live. Answer true or false to Amy's questions in the comments below, and Amy will ask our guest for the expert answer.
All right, Green Warrior, get ready. Here's our first question. True or false? Osteoporosis causes death. Type in your guess. Jennifer, tell us about it.
The answer is false. It's the fall or the fracture that one can have that can cause complications that can lead to death, not the diagnosis of osteoporosis.
Yeah. Okay. Although having that diagnosis can be a pretty heavy thing to hear. So it can
Definitely.
make
But
you think all kinds of things. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Okay,
but itself will not cause death. You can't die from it, but but you want to take care of it because it can lead to falls and fractures and complications, and then that's where you can have serious issues.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we're here today, to be proactive and learn. All right, here's our next one. True or false? Osteoporosis only affects women. Green Warriors, type in your guess. Okay, Jennifer.
False. It can affect both men and women. It's just more common in women. But we don't hear a lot about it in men, but they can get it.
Yep, and our Green Warriors are right on it. They've been typing in their answers, and they're all got an A+ for that one.
Excellent.
All right. True or false? Everyone will eventually get osteoporosis. Okay. Jennifer, tell us about that.
So that's false too. Not everyone will get it. Everyone loses bone as they age, but that doesn't mean that everyone is going to get that diagnosis. There's a lot of other factors that are involved that could cause one to get it, like if you're sedentary, like we talk about, activity level, or certain medications. Like I was on prednisone, and that's one that's known, if you do it for a long time, it can cause issues. And I'm sure there are other medications, and even things like autoimmune, like I have thyroid and Hashimoto's. And so there are different factors, and not everybody has all those factors.
Yeah. And you have a lot of things that you're dealing with, but I just admire you so much because you just have such a positive outlook, and that most of the health outcomes are in your destiny. It's up to you, right? So you're being proactive and taking care of things and researching and learning, and you're so kind because you're sharing the information with everyone else, because we all need to know this. And I'm so appreciative of that. Okay, we have one more. True or false?
Okay.
True or false? A poor diet can increase your risk of osteoporosis. Okay, Green Warriors, type that answer in. What do you think? Okay, Jennifer.
That one is true. The standard American diet can increase your risk because that diet is a high acidic diet. With dairy and meat and sugar and cheeses and salt and all of that stuff can cause weakness in the bones, and that can increase your risk of getting osteoporosis. So that's why I eat a whole food plant exclusive diet and try to help my body, because our bodies are so strong, you know. They're not dumb.
Yes, and our bodies want to heal. Isn't that beautiful? That they really want to heal, and if we just get out of their way, they
Exactly.
they will definitely heal. Yeah, and Marley said soda and alcohol is bad for bones.
Right.
Yes.
So true.
Yeah, very true. So now tell us, so you got the diagnosis and now you're using this weighted vest. You also, and we're going to give a link to the vest that you are wearing that you recommend. But of course, there are other ones that are good too. It's a choice that you have to make. But people may ask where you got yours, so we're going to provide a link
Sure.
in the description for that. And you're also using the wrist weights, right?
Yes. And I even have, this is a new product that I'm really into, and this is a belt. So some people can't or don't want to wear the weighted vest, right? Maybe it's just not a good fit for you, depending on if you've had any neck injuries or, you know, spine stuff. Maybe your doctor isn't recommending it, but a weighted belt is great. And you know, this particular brand, I am super excited about this company. I just recently did a thing about them, but you can just put it around your waist. This one is 7 pounds, and I can wear it with my belt, with my vest, or without it. I can put it under my clothes or not. I can move the weights, which I'm going to talk about. I think that's a really important thing, is to be able to take the weights out of your products so that you can adjust it. Even if you want all the weight, maybe it's bothering you, it's rubbing in a certain way. So just move it. You know, some people, maybe it bothers their hips. This doesn't bother my hips, but if it did, I know that I could take these plates out and move them. I would move them to the back. But, and so this is really good. It gives extra resistance and on the hip area. And I also like to do a lot of hip and exercises. So I have that. This is my original weighted vest, and they don't make it anymore, but I thought I would bring it just because there are some like it out there. This one goes over your head, and you know, some people don't care for that, but it wraps around, and it's got pockets in the front and back. And so I also personally like to look for ones that have pockets that are not just at the bottom, but that are also kind of going up, because I want to work the whole spine. I don't want to just work the bottom. In that case, maybe I would just do a belt. And so I like to have that flexibility. Now, this particular vest came with these 2-pound weights. The one that I'm currently wearing has much smaller weights in it. And so, you know, I have more flexibility. I'll just take this one out and show it to you. You know, if I want to, you know, have a smaller amount, I forgot how much these weigh, but not much. If you want. And so this particular vest that I'm currently wearing is the best vest that I could find that is available. Is it perfect? I'm always looking for other ones. But for now, I think it's fantastic. It works for me, and it's a zipper. It's got all the pockets. It's adjustable, strings on the side. I can add more weights from the front to the back. The thing that I'm not crazy about is that sometimes I'm finding that the material, because it's a stretchy material, was starting to wear a little bit at the bottom of some of the pockets. Not a big deal, but it's a big deal for me because they're expensive and I don't want to have to keep buying new ones. But for now, this one I love. It's a great vest. And so moving on to the wrist, I used to go with this one. This one I don't think is available anymore. And I just want to show you some of the differences. Like this one has these little round weights, you know, and I think these are 1/5 of a pound each, whereas you saw some of the other ones. And but these are really bulky, right? So these, you know, for wrist, it's kind of bulky, and I wasn't able to wear it all the time because I couldn't move well. If I wanted to write, or if I wanted to do dishes, or if I wanted to wear it during the day and not just during exercise. And so this company, Weight Fit, is a newer company for me that I'm aware of, and I really like their products. They're thinner, they're easy to put on, right? So I don't have to worry about a long strap. Like when you try to put a bracelet on, I have this long strap that I'm trying to chase. And so these also come out, and that's the same as the belt. I hope they maybe develop a vest at some point, but right now those are the two that I'm familiar with. These are ankle weights, and these are my original ones. They don't sell this brand this way anymore. They do have other ones, but if you look, I just want to show you that these are 1/2 pound and they're round. And so when I was wearing my original vest and I took everything out of it, I started by putting this in the pockets, right? The pockets are big enough for this, so I could fit a couple of these until I got to the 2 pound. And so another thing about having these bulky ones, if you're looking at that, is if you're going to wear it like I do, I wear it in the car and I go shopping, go grocery, whatever I need to do. Well, the back of this it's kind of bulky. So I don't really sit flush in the car. Whereas this one, I do sit flush in the car. Or the belt, I do sit flush. And so these are different things that I want to bring to your attention, that depending on how you want to use it, that you can think about when looking for some kind of product out there that'll help you.
Yeah. And even the vest itself, if it didn't have any weights in it, it still has some weight, right?
Yes. This one was 1 pound. I didn't measure. I haven't weighed this one because, but I would imagine that it's about a pound as well, or less, 1/2 a pound to a pound. But I've been using it with the weights in it because I'm stronger now.
So you're like, I don't think it weighs very much, but in the beginning, yeah, for a beginner, it could. And so I think you should still consult someone like Angela Fischetti with Boomer and Beyond Wellness. But in the beginning, you shouldn't be intimidated, because maybe you should just put it on and walk around the house for about 5 minutes with it on, and then just take it off, right? And then kind of work your way up. Of course, as long as your doctor tells you that it's okay to do that. But you don't have to just stuff all the weights in it and start that way. Yeah.
Yes.
And you really don't want to
right.
hurt yourself.
It is really important to have somebody help you get started, whoever your professional, whether it's a doctor or physical therapist, or Angela, who's fantastic, just to kind of realize that, you don't want to jump in. It's like jumping into, something that you're not familiar with. You want to work your way up. And in fact, that's one thing I just want to quickly say about the wrist. So I originally, when I was having all my stuff, they said I had carpal tunnel. And I had all kinds of problems with pain in my wrists. I couldn't use my hands properly. I couldn't hold a pen at one time. And so now I can hold weights and wear this. But if there's rheumatoid arthritis or things that you have that don't allow you to comfortably wear it, of course, ask your doctor. But this allows you to keep your hands, you don't have to round them or squish them or grab anything, because the weight is here where you want to build the wrist. And it's just a little bit less pressure on the hand and the bones. And so that's something to consider when you talk to somebody who's helping you, that knows this stuff, that's a professional.
Oh, and I just want to let everybody know that we have Angela Fischetti from Boomer and Beyond Wellness. She hopped on just now.
Yay!
She's thanking me for the and you for the beautiful shout outs. So if you have a question about this weighted vest, as far as what to do with it in more detail, we now have an expert in exercise that has joined the chat. So go at it if you want to chat with her while we're doing this show, because she's going to do a much better job than I would in giving you any
Yeah,
kind of advice.
Angela helped me so much, and I just highly recommend her if you're looking for somebody to help you personally. I know she has a lot of stuff that she offers, free tips and
Yes.
tricks, and but yeah, I can't say enough things about how much she helped me in those beginning months, that early stage. And so, anyways, I'm so glad you're here, Angela.
Yeah, I'm
Hi,
glad
honey.
she is too. And she does virtual consultations. So it would be kind of like what we're doing together here. It would be you and Angela, and she could just talk you through it.
Yeah.
And she's just so kind and generous. And she was diagnosed with osteoporosis. They told her she had the bones of a 90-year-old. She told that story on the broadcast too. And she worked her way to healing it also. So it's not that she's just an expert in exercise. She knows
She's lived it.
firsthand about the osteoporosis. So you can go to her channel and check out her things. I even have an exercise playlist that Angela is featured on. So
That's awesome.
there's a lot of information for everybody. And of course, you and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But you have a YouTube channel as well, and you have social media, and you talk a lot about the things that that we're going to be talking about today, plus other things about healing.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I do want to just share. Earlier you had mentioned that I was trying to get my certification. I have it now. I am a certified plant-based nutrition coach in
Oh,
addition. So, yeah,
congratulations.
so I just wanted to just share that exciting thing. And yeah, there's so much to this, and it's great if you know, powerhouses like Angela and you, and you know, just to have us together to help as a group others, you know,
Yeah.
wherever they are, and wherever their needs are in their journey.
So Mona had this question, and if you don't want to answer it, maybe Angela will. Would the belt or vest be better for lower back pain?
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is it's the best to ask your doctor, because your doctor knows you, right? Then you have your scans and whatever is causing the lower back pain. Also, trust yourself. If they give you the okay, and it still doesn't feel right, I would listen to my own body. And right, depending. So, you know, when I had a herniated disc repaired in my lower back, and the doctor at that time told me not to wear a vest. He said wear a belt or wear ankle or wrist, because he said I don't want the pressure to go down onto any of the spine area. But as I was, you know, healed and, you know, got to a good point, then I was told no restrictions. So then I turned to it. So I think it's a very personal question, and one that you need somebody that knows your case to give you like an answer. What would you agree? Would you agree, Angela? I don't know.
Yeah, she's gonna probably say something in the chat. If she says something, I'll try to pull it up. But yeah, because I didn't feel comfortable about answering that. But I also want to thank. She gave me a super chat, so thank you, Angela from Boomer and Beyond Wellness. I really appreciate that. All these super chats help our channel grow, and we really can use all the help. Okay, let's see. She said, always because of nerve issues. Science is all about the weighted vests. It only supports weighted vests for long-term results for both bone and muscle strength. And then she said, yes, the belt is inappropriate in certain cases. So that was some feedback. Thank you for that. And then Marley said, is a weighted belt better for someone with thoracic back issues or not recommended at all? There again, I guess it would be pretty much the same answer as far as that goes. What do you think?
Yeah, I honestly think if you have any kind of back issue, whatever it is, it's really important to find out if it's safe for you. And of course, you know, we don't know your personal case or story, and we're not medical professionals. So I would find out. And then if it is appropriate and you want to try it, then I would give it a try and see how it feels for you. And know that if you get one that you can take the weights out of, whether it's a vest or whatever it is, just start slowly. But I definitely wouldn't mess around with that because you want to make sure that it's appropriate for you. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. Marley said, Jennifer has inspired me a lot since I first saw her story a while back. She's a great teacher. Yes, she is a
Thank you so
wonderful
much.
teacher. And Marley also said, I'm about to start with Boomer and Beyond coaching, and we'll be asking about a weighted vest and probably a trampoline. Oh, wow. Good for you.
Very cool. Very cool, Marley. She's going to take good care of you.
Yeah. Marley wanted to know, how long do you wear this vest daily?
Yeah. So I wear it. It's a range of time, anywhere between 4 to 8 hours. And, it just depends. I don't wear it every day. I try to wear it about 5 times a week. So, there are weeks when I can only wear it 4 times. And then so maybe another week I would wear it 6 times. When I go on vacation, sometimes I don't bring it. And so then I don't wear it at all. But majority of the time, I like to wear it 4 to 6 hours a day. And sometimes I'll wear it working out. Most of the time, I will take it off, do my other workouts, and then add it on. I love to also wear it when I'm walking the dog and things like that. So there you go.
Okay, well, that's great. You know what? We're just chatting so much and we still have a cooking demo to do.
Well, if we have time, you let me know.
Well, I do. I don't know if you do, but if you do, I'd love you to do the cooking demo.
I'm fine. Whatever works for you. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Tell us, what are you going to be making today?
Yeah. So I'm just going to move this aside, and I am going to be making a easy summer slaw and some homemade hummus. And then I'm going to put it all in a collared wrap. And so that's what I'll be doing. So let me just grab something really quickly here.
Oh, sure.
And we will get started.
Okay. And while Jennifer gets her kitchen set up, Green Warriors, do you have any more questions for Jennifer? Tell us about your experiences. If you've ever been diagnosed with osteoporosis or osteopenia, are you due for a bone scan? What are you thinking about? And what things are you learning today that if you type it in the comments, maybe people who come around later and they're looking through the comments, they can learn from what you're learning today. And I want to remind you that the recipe for this is going to be in the description. It's also on my website, begreenwithamy.com. So you're going to be able to get all those ingredients and everything for you prepared. Okay, look, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, here we go.
We're going to start with the first part, and this is the easy summer slaw. It's very flexible. You can change things. If you don't like something I'm adding in here, don't add it in, get something else or skip it altogether. But so I so we have a bowl and we're going to be mixing everything in the bowl. And I just want to say that you could use a food processor, but I find that using just a box grater or shredder does 2 things, right? It allows me to get a workout in the kitchen, because I got to work. And sometimes I don't need, I just prefer this. I don't need to use the big machine, but if you're going to double or triple it, then you can consider doing that. And so what I'm going to do is add some shredded carrots. And like Amy said, the recipe will be in the show notes for you. And so putting your shredded carrots in, I personally like to shred my carrots myself. You can buy them pre-shred. I love the opportunity of being able to work my muscles and my bones. So I wanted to show you that on the box grater, how simple it can be. And so that's why I left an extra piece out. And then the next thing we're going to do is add purple cabbage. Now, I did not use the box shredder for this grater, whatever you want to call it. Here is a purple cabbage. And I decided not to do that because I find that when I use something like this or the food processor with the purple cabbage, it kind of it doesn't stay firm as long. I don't know if it's just me or my blades or whatever. So I just wanted to take a quick minute and show you how I do it with just a knife. I just do a thin slice. I would do as many thin slices as I wanted. And then I would just, go it in, chop it into small pieces, and that's it. And they're a little bit bigger than they would be had I used a food processor or the shredder, but I just feel for whatever reason, it holds up better. You need to decide what works for you, but I did want to share that. And then the next thing is, okay, you guys, who buys broccoli, right? And you have the broccoli stem, and a lot of people just, they don't use the broccoli stem. I already used the actual tree part of the broccoli, but here's a stem. And this recipe calls for the stem. So now you have something that you could use it in. And I have it right here. I'm going to show you how I prepare and shred my broccoli stem. But it's so nutritious. And you can buy it shredded. And it's like, well, I buy it all the time. Why don't I just shred it myself? So you could go ahead and shred it at, just like this. I tend to take the very end piece off if it seems a little tough or fibrous. And I put this in a bag that I keep in the freezer to make vegetable broth, but you can compost it or whatever. I am using a big knife. You don't need to use a big knife. You can use a paring knife, or you could use a potato peeler if you want to get some of the outside thick fiber off. You don't have to. You could do the whole thing, but I'll just show you what I mean. And so I just kind of cut this piece off here. I just sliced a piece off, and I could do the potato peeler, or now I could just kind of go around. And I don't know if you can see it, but there is a difference in color. And so I just try to get the outside color, and I won't get rid of the outside harder fibrous piece. I will put it in my vegetable broth to season. So this inside is very soft, and it's delicious. And so then I'll take this and work my muscles. Here we go again. And it goes really quickly. Now, sometimes I will use the outside, like I said, but sometimes I just like it to be nice, and I don't know, it just has a different taste to it. So hopefully you followed that. So we put all this stuff in here, and then I'm going to just set this aside for later. Okay, and then we are going to add a couple other things. So pine nuts are something that I put in here. If you don't do nuts, don't put it in there. If you are okay with nuts, but you don't like pine nuts, do walnuts. Do any kind of nut you want. The reason that I really like the pine nut is I like the size of it. So if you're going to do a walnut or an almond or something different, I would say maybe chop it up a little bit. And this is a tablespoon for the whole bowl. I'm not talking a lot. So, because I know some people, they are watching out calorie density, and they want to make sure that they're not eating too many nuts. So you could go ahead and pour this in there, or you could take a few minutes, heat up a skillet, and toast them. And it takes a couple of minutes. So,
and you don't need oil to do that, right?
That's right. Look at this. You are so on it. This pan has nothing in it, no oil. And so I'm just heating it up. And how do I know if it's heated if I'm not using any oil? Well, I could take a little bit of water just to test it, and sprinkle a little bit of water. And so it's not ready yet because I just turned it on. But if you hear that sound, that lets you know that it's hot enough. And so we're going to let it get hot enough. I'm just going to sprinkle it in there, and I'm literally going to give it a couple of minutes. So while that's doing that, and it already, you hear that? Hot enough. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of the water because we didn't really want water, but I just wanted to show you that it's hot enough. I'm turning the heat down to medium, and I'm just tossing it in there. You don't want to like forget it because it will burn. But the reason that I would do this, it is an extra step, and like I said, you don't have to, is that because when you toast it, it brings out a different flavor profile, and it's just a nice addition, but you don't have to do that. So while that's happening, any questions so far? Should I keep going?
I think you can keep going. Although I just saw a comment from Boomer and Beyond Wellness, and she said, I'm on the next flight out to Arizona for Jennifer's leftovers.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be a treat? Angela, you are so welcome. Come on over. I've got an extra plate right here. Amy, you too.
I know. I would love to join everybody. That would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. Oh my gosh. So anyhow, I'm just going to let this go and just shake it a little bit. And I have an apple that I'm going to add in here. I personally like to save doing the apple for kind of towards the end because oxidation. I don't want it to turn brown. So what you can do is, this is a envy apple. You can do any apple you want. I would recommend a firmer apple, more so than one that's like a softer one. And I like the envy because it is a sweeter flavor. And we've got, you know, the bitterness of the broccoli and the cabbage. So we want to have some sweetness to it. And then what I'm just going to do is I'm going to get my box grater out. You can leave the skin on or you can peel it off. I'm going to leave it on, and I'm literally working out.
With your wrist weight too.
With my wrist weights,
I've
impressive. Got the belt on and the vest, and I'm making sure that my posture is straight. So all these things. And then when you get to the center, you just want to go work around it and make sure that you don't want to put, I don't want to put the seeds in. So, and I'm going to stop for a minute because I gotta check these.
Now this, you could use a food processor to do all that shredding if you wanted to, but it's just so quick and easy the way you're doing it. And it does give you great exercise. Let's see what that, ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if you could see it, but there's like a little brown on them. I don't know. Yeah. Let me see if you could see any little bits of brownness. So
yeah, I see it. Yeah.
That's it. That's toasted. Now, don't do what I'm doing because this is a hot pan, but I just threw that in there, and then I'm going to go back to finish the apple. And yes, absolutely. You want to use a food processor, use a food processor. I just probably, and you don't, you know, do what you want with the purple cabbage. I think I would still slice that up and go from there. Now, what can you do with this? Stick it in your veggie broth. Yes, apple is okay in a veggie broth. It'll give it a little sweetness, but there's nothing wrong with it. So
that's what I love about this lifestyle. You don't really have to waste anything. And there are things that I'll grind up in my blender when I make a smoothie. You know, the ends of vegetables that I would often discard, I can either put that in a freezer bag and make that into veggie broth, or just throw it in the Vitamix and make it into a smoothie.
Yes, absolutely. And if you didn't want to do the shredded apple, I did bring out an apple core kind of thing. You know, you can make it into cubes. You can do whatever you want. This is such a flexible recipe. And so there's only a couple more things in here. So I'm going to add, this is daikon radish. I actually peeled it because I wanted it to be super white. You could use any radish. You could skip it. Maybe you don't like radishes. But I have already shredded it the same way, and I have some raisins. Now, what if you don't want raisins? Some raisins have oil put on them, believe it or not. So you want to make sure that if you are using the raisins, that yours don't have that. If that's a concern for you, you could switch it up and do goji berries or any other kind of dried fruit. It'll just give it a little bit extra.
You know, I recently tried dried jackfruit.
Yeah. How did you love it?
Oh my goodness, I didn't think it was gonna be as good as it was, and, I have a potluck a couple of times a month for my plant-based friends, and one of them got it at Costco,
Yes.
and she gave it to me, and of course, I tasted it, I didn't look at the ingredients, and then after I tasted it, I said, "I need to see the ingredients on this because it's so sweet," and it was just dried jackfruit. That's all it was.
Amy, is this it?
Oh, see that?
This is, and I'm going to read you the ingredients. Organic jackfruit. End of story. So that's funny. You could definitely chop this up and add it in here if you'd like. I just wanted to share that. We think alike.
We have to give a shout out to your, stagehand over there.
That's my husband, Todd, and I'll let him know. Todd, you're getting a
Thank you,
shout
Todd.
out.
You've been so helpful.
Yeah. So the last two things that we're going to add are some lemon juice. I pre-measured the lemon juice. It's a little bit. You can use a regular lemon, or, just like this. And it's great if you want to add a little bit of the lemon zest. You don't have to, but you just want to make sure that you get the zest and not the white part underneath, that pithy part, because that'll change the flavor. And so I'm going to put this back over here. So we have our lemon juice that will help with the oxidation, that will give it flavor. And then the last thing we're going to add is some fresh dill. Now, what if you don't like dill? What if you don't have dill? Use a different herb. Try mint. Try anything else that you would like. I have these little herb scissors. You don't need them. You could do a knife. You could use your hand and just kind of pull it off and just kind of, this is washed. I already pre-washed everything. And I just kind of add it right in here. And just give it a little bit of herbs. Now we're going to mix it up. And this part is ready. So what could you do? You could stop at this point. You could just mix it up, get yourself a spoon, and go to town, right? This is a meal ready to go here. You could add a grain to it if you wanted. And it's just to taste, right? So you can put as much dill or as little as you want. Let me grab a spoon to just quickly toss it.
And Mona said that's probably ripe jackfruit, which is sweeter than young jackfruit. Yes.
Yes. Isn't that true? You can use jackfruit when it's not ripe and when it is ripe for different things. Isn't that funny that it's so versatile?
Yes, it is. Oftentimes people use it as a kind of a meat substitute, and they make stews with it to get that texture. That is not with the young jackfruit.
Yeah, so this is the slaw part. This is the
Okay,
easy
hang on, let me
summer
get you
slaw.
close up. Oh, look at how beautiful, all those colors.
And it's got the apple, it's got the raisins, it's got the dill, and everything you saw is put in there. So like I said, I could sit down with a fork and not share this, or you can share it.
I was just about to say that. Sorry, Angela. And that's how we eat with this lifestyle, right? We are supposed to eat a big A salad. And I call it a big ask salad because people ask, are you going to eat all that yourself?
Right. It's so true. So I'm just going to set the salad aside and move over to the next, if you're still good on time.
I am great. I'm having a great time.
Oh, good. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to make a simple hummus. Now, you can buy store-bought hummus, or you can make it. And so I'm just going to bring over my stuff here. I like to make it because then I know that there's no oil in it or salt. Some people don't like tahini. And so if that's you, you can make it without tahini. I'm going to use a little tahini. I just, I'm careful about it. And anyways, I am going to get a couple last things. Sorry about the back and forth. Okay, let's see here.
I
we have
guess Marley has big salads too. She said they say that to me too, and have been called a rabbit countless times. See,
That's great. That's
when that
great.
happens, Marley, that's your pat on the back because you want people to say that because then you know you're doing it right.
Then you know you're doing it right. Absolutely. Absolutely. The shock of people is how you know you're doing it right. So good for you. Okay, so just really quickly, I want to talk about I'm using garbanzo beans. And whether you get them out of a can for convenience or you make them from scratch dried, it doesn't matter. If you're going to make them dried, I would soak them for a day or two, draining the water every 12 to 24 hours, putting fresh water in. And then I like to do it for about 15 to 18 minutes or so in the Instant Pot, covering it with a fresh water, not the one you soaked it with, and making sure that it's soft and tastes cooked. That's it. If you don't have time, you don't want to do that, getting it in the can will work also. This particular brand is a no salt added. I love the Eden. There's a couple brands that you could get for no salt. If you can't find them in your area, you can always go online. If you only have access to the salt, wash it off. You know, I mean, it's not going to take it all off, but it is going to really help it. And so what I do, which you don't have to do, is, does anyone know what this is? This is like, everyone's like, well, I don't know what that is. This
Type your
is,
guess in the chat if you can guess what that is.
yeah, okay. So I'm just going to kind of show you what this looks like. And then while we're waiting to hear what everyone says, I'm going to pour some garbanzo beans. And I'm going to just do this in the NutriBullet because it's a small amount. You could do it in a food processor or even a Vitamix. Whoops, I see one straggler. Just want to make sure I don't get him.
We want to know why soak for a day or two, or did I hear that wrong? I'm used to soaking overnight.
I personally like to soak it a little bit longer. Yeah, overnight is great, even 12 hours. I just find that there's some bubbles that come up. There's and I'd like to rinse that off. It helps with digestion and helps if you have any issues with gas with it. And so I just like to make an extra step. It's certainly fine if you go overnight, but I go up to 2 days if I have the time. So that's why.
Yeah, it's a good tip because some people are afraid to eat beans because of that they have digestive issues, and so that's a good tip that they could try that.
Yes, absolutely. And so what do you think? Should we share what this is yet?
Yes. I don't think anybody was brave enough to guess. So.
Oh, really? I can wait.
No, go ahead. Just tell everybody what it is.
This is the skin. This is the skin off of the garbanzo beans. Yes, I take the skin off of the cooked garbanzo beans, and I do it one at a time. I know that there's a way that you can boil it and it should take most of it off. You don't have to do this. It would be just fine with it. The reason that I like to do it with hummus is because I feel like it gives it a creamier, delivery at the end. But anyways, I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, and it isn't necessary. When we make our hummus, we don't do that. But I went to a potluck where somebody did it, and yeah, it was creamier. It was, but some people may not have the time. But it's very meditative though to do something like that, right?
Right. And my husband sometimes does it with me, right? He'll say, "Do you want me to help you?" And I'll say, "If you want to," right? And so we kind of squeeze the side of it. And now we're good at it, right? So it can go fast. But at first you can have like some kind of popping contest.
And of course, Scorpy said, "Thank you for all that you do, husband Todd."
Yes, I appreciate everything he does too. And he's in the background doing a thank you. Okay, so we've got our whatever kind of garbanzo beans you want to put in here. I'm going to use some tahini. You can skip the tahini, right? We talked about that. You don't have to use tahini, but I think tahini is sesame seeds that are ground up. So if you're concerned about caloric density and you don't do nuts or it's a trigger, then of course skip it. For me, sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, those are all seeds that I personally need for iron and other things that my doctor recommended. So I'll do a little bit. The one that I really like, if you're interested, is the raw tahini sesame seed butter. It is a little pricey, but I don't use it very much, so it lasts a long time. Or you can take sesame seeds and grind them up yourself. So there you go. So I added that in here, and then you can take, so I want lemon juice, right? I have some lemon juice because I had a lemon ready to go, but I often am found taking the zest off of a lemon and peeling it like an orange and cutting it and just using the whole lemon right in there, or half of it, or whatever, quarter amount, but not just squeezing the juice. So that's something I wanted to share with you.
Yeah, and that NutriBullet that you have is a very high-powered blender, so it would really grind that lemon up very well.
Right, because I don't want to peel my garbanzo beans and then have chunks of lemon in there. So I want it to be nice and smooth. So I just like to share that because so many times we throw out a lot of this just because we think it's just for the juice, but you can actually do the whole inside if you want. And then I have in here some garlic cloves. I also have some ground cumin, sumac, and coriander that's dry. And I'm just going to put all that in there. Now, sometimes, I have family members in my household, they don't like cumin. We'll leave it out. But, most people, cumin is a more traditional hummus seasoning or spice. So you can't play with it. You like it hotter, put some cayenne in, so this is just a base to share with you. And then the last thing is the aquafaba. Now, we didn't talk about that, but when you make the garbanzo beans, or if you drain them out of the can, there's a liquid in here. And this liquid can be used for all kinds of fun things. And it's called aquafaba. And so instead of adding water in here, don't do that. I'm going to just add some of the aquafaba. And I'm just going to do a little bit of that. Where is my measuring spoon? And then we're going to blend it up. This is ready to go. I'm just going to do this.
Yeah, I love how we don't really waste very much at all when it comes to this lifestyle. There's so many different uses for the stumps of things and the liquid from things. And oftentimes after I make beans, I use the liquid left over for a base for a soup.
Oh, yes, me too. Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
Yeah, no waste. So I'm going to put this on here, and if I find that it needs more liquid, well, I'll add some more aquafaba, and then we can taste it and see, did it need more lemon or is it good? So you kind of get to make the flavor your own. So here I go.
So, so I'm muting Jennifer so that if you're using earbuds, you wouldn't have your ear blasted by the NutriBullet. And now we're back.
Yeah, and look, see, it's too thick. So I'm going to add a little bit more. Whoops, this way. I'm going to add a little bit more liquid and try again. And you know what? I thought it was just going to need a little. Look I'm pouring in quite a bit. So you decide. And you can always add more lemon if you want a more lemony flavor. Here we go again.
What I love about the NutriBullet is that it has the blades in the opposite place, so that this way, when you're ready to scoop out that hummus, you don't have to worry about navigating those blades. See, there's a reason for this, because you always have to have a little exercise in the kitchen. But yeah, not having to navigate those blades when you scrape out the hummus, it just makes it a lot easier. So that's a wonderful appliance that I enjoy using in the kitchen. And the other thing I like about whole food plant-based cooking is that you can taste things, and you can also, while you're cooking, you can taste things so that you don't have to worry about cross-contamination. And so Jennifer's just eyeballing this to see how is it going to look and what is the consistency that she wants to have there. So let's see.
There you go. So this, if I wanted it even thinner, I could add more lemon, but I ended up using all the aquafaba. Now, in the directions that you're going to get below, it talks about a smaller amount. So you just adjust based on what it looks like and what you're going for. And so I'm going to pour this in this cup here. Whoops. Just so you can see.
And Marley said, I actually use leftover aquafaba as gravy for my doggy's meals. They love it.
Ooh,
Yeah, my doggy is a whole food plant-based. So he gets all kinds of treats, but that would make a good gravy, yeah.
Wow, I never thought of that. Remy, our doggy, do you hear that, Rem? I'm sure he's around here resting somewhere. We'll have to try that. And so here you go. So we have the hummus. I'm going to taste it because I want to make sure that it doesn't need anything. And then we're going to move on to making the wrap and putting it all together.
Always have to taste it.
I think it tastes really good, but I personally would add a little more lemon.
Yeah.
So, later I might add a little more lemon, but otherwise it's perfect. It's creamy. It's the right texture. And so there you go. Here it is. Here's the hummus. And sometimes if I'm serving this, I'll take some of the, the coriander or the cumin, and I'll put a little design on the top because it gives it a nice color. You could also save a couple garbanzos and put them on top if you like to, make it just a little prettier. So, okay, so what I have left here is this pan. And I've already just put a little bit of water in it. You can see that. I'm going to bring this to not quite a boil, but I'm going to put some collard greens in here. And I have
important to get those leafy greens in any way you can, right?
Yes, absolutely. So here are my collards, and let me move this out of the way. And I already washed them. I have two of these off because I wanted to show you. I cut them, this part off. This is like the spine of it. And the reason why I try to do that is because I find that when I wrap it, it wraps easier. You don't have to do that. It's just something that I do. And I did it with two of them already. I'm going to show you how I do it in case that's not something that you're familiar with and you'd like to try it. You can use a paring knife, not a big knife, and it's clean and washed. And I just want to kind of just go this way. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going along the spine and removing this piece right here, which was on there, but I didn't cut through it so that I can have it more flexible. And that's it. So these are ready. But the reason that I'm boiling the water is because if I dip these in there, it really softens them up. You don't have to do that either, but I find that it's easier when you're chewing into it and stuff. If you just take a minute just to do that, it's really, really helpful. So I'm going to put that aside while I'm waiting for the water to heat up.
That's such a great hack. And, those stems, my doggy loves chewing on collard green stems and kale stems.
Wow.
Loves them. But you could always put them into your bag for your vegetable broth, or you could blend them into a smoothie. So you're not going to waste anything. You're going to figure out what else you want to do with them.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I am so giving those to Remy. he's like so excited. So we could just wrap this in the collards and I'm going to spread some hummus on it and call it a day. But if you want to add even more color to it, you can. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use this. This is a golden beet. I was just going to show you could use a golden beet, or you could use zucchini. You could shred these in there instead of the radish or in addition to. It doesn't matter. But I have cucumber here. And I'm just going to slice the cucumber in like these kind of long, I don't know what shape this is. Let's see. I'll show you. but I cut it, I took a chunk of cucumber and then I just cut it into these kind of shapes. What is this? I don't know what this shape is, but this is the shape. You don't have to do this, but this is what I'm doing. And then I'm also going to add some bell pepper. And I washed it. And when you pick a bell pepper, notice the stem. If it's all wrinkled and dark and it's probably been there for a while, you want it to look as close to freshly cut off as possible to know how fresh it is. And I'm just going to turn it upside down and I just cut it right down the middle. And then I take this part and I push it into it. And look, it completely comes out. So I don't waste any of the top of this. If you could see, the whole thing is still intact. Okay. And then put this with your scraps. And then I'm just going to cut these into some slices. And that's it.
You have so many beautiful colors that you're putting into this recipe. And
yes.
And I think about how, before I adopted this whole food plant-based lifestyle, and I think about people who are still eating the standard American diet, that everything is just upside down. The things that they use as garnish on their plates, we're eating them as meals.
Exactly. So just to show you, I've got this, I've got this water it was boiling, so it doesn't need to be. And I'm bringing it over here so you can see. And I've got my collards, and I'm just going to take the collard, and I'm literally just going to put it in here and just wet it. And now that's it. And I'm turning it over and I'm wetting it again. And then sometimes I'll put it on a paper towel or a dry towel and just, that's it. This is it. Let it just cool. I forgot to get that prepared, so I'm just going to put it on the side. And that's it. I don't know if anybody is familiar with doing this. And of course, you don't have to, but I like to.
But it's fun. It's fun. And it's fun to blanch things and make them. It's just these little tips that we don't all know about because we're not used to eating in this way. And so oftentimes people will use things with flour to wrap things, and they would like to find a healthier alternative, but they don't know what to use. And then if they did try this, they probably wouldn't take out the stem and they probably wouldn't blanch it because nobody told them until now.
Right. And then they're like, oh, why are you eating this hard stick blanch or this hard, stem? But yeah, you're right. We just have to be educated. And so you can see the difference. This one is more pliable and the color is even brighter than the one that we didn't. And so I just wanted to show that. So now comes the fun part. Let's make the collard wrap. So I've got a little plate here, and I'm going to take one of my wraps, and I'm going to actually use this. So I'm going to add some hummus. I'm just going to take a little hummus, and I'm going to paint it. I love hummus. You could do black bean hummus. You don't have to do garbanzo bean. You could do eggplant. You could do any kind of hummus that you like, or you can skip it. Then I want to get our superstar, the easy summer slaw. Oh man, this smells so good because it was sitting here. And I would even put more dill in it or whatever herb. Let's see, I want to be able to show you. So let me clear out a spot here. Okay, hopefully you can see this. And so then I'm just going to take it and I'm going to just put as much as I think I can handle, which is, these collards are kind of small. I've seen some big ones, but in the store yesterday, they weren't big. So I have to go with this and just make more of them, right?
Yeah.
And so then I'm just going to take some of these slices of cucumber and red pepper. And if you want to use microgreens, you could use those or sprouts. I happen to have some lentil sprouts that I sprouted. So I'm going to throw those in there. And now let's see if we can roll this guy up, and we can use a toothpick to secure it. I like to use the thinner part, the end of the stem first. And I'm just going to kind of pull it all close to me, kind of like a sushi roll. And this is not big, but sometimes it'll let you go over. And here you go. But I'm going to secure it with a toothpick and see if we can cut it open and look at some of the beautiful colors. And that's it.
That
and then
looks
it's
so
lunchtime.
beautiful.
Then it's lunchtime. Okay. So because this is a smaller wrap, you know, you just gotta be patient with it. But here you go. See, look at that.
Oh, how beautiful.
Now let
Love
me see.
it.
Yeah, let me see if I can cut into it partially and see if I hold it. If you could see, there we go. I'm going to have to hold it because it's just a little bit small, but look at that.
Oh. Marley
So
said,
hopefully,
beautiful. I
yeah.
agree.
So should I give
I
it a
agree.
taste?
Yes, because we're going to have to make our own. So let us know.
Yes. Okay, here I go. Mmm. Yummy.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I hope your assistant is going to get some too, right?
I love the flavor, the freshness of the lemon in it. And all the flavors complement each other. I didn't even think about it, but I had some scallion. So you can, it's so versatile. You can do whatever you want, add what you want, and make it as simple or as difficult as you want. And I hope that I inspire somebody to try something new, and just know that plants are beautiful, they're colorful, and they just make us feel so good.
Yep, and they're very, very healing. And thank you for sharing that recipe with us, and for telling us all about your health journey, especially with osteoporosis. There's just so much to learn, and I'm so glad the Green Warriors tuned in today to watch all of this, because the more we get exposed to these things, the more normalized it'll feel in our brain, and when we see other people who are successful with it, it is really just so helpful to help you stay on track and be motivated to keep going with this lifestyle. And I wanted to ask you, Jennifer, to tell us more about what you do and how we can find you on social media.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I just appreciate being here and spending time with everybody. And I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to allow me to share. I can be found on YouTube, is where my most biggest presence is. And I could be found at the Jennifer Diamond on YouTube. And I'm at Diamond Girl 369 is my Instagram. I post pictures there a little bit, and I'm also on Facebook. Let's see, my Facebook, I think it's just my name. Just Jennifer Diamond. And I have a website, which is the Jennifer Diamond also. So you can check me out there. I have a newsletter you can sign up for. I don't spam you. I just do it once a month. And I also started doing live YouTubes on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If that's something that you're interested in, I love to have you bring questions and try to bring out topics that might be of interest. So yeah, and you can also schedule if you want any kind of coaching. I'm available for private coaching and group coaching as well.
Wonderful. You just have so much to offer. And I think that people would definitely benefit from your expertise and your wonderful positive attitude.
Oh, thank you so much.
I really want to thank you, Jennifer, for sharing your incredible journey and the helpful information about osteoporosis, and of course, your delicious recipes with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity. And as I'm just thinking, you could even take 2 of these. I'm still thinking about food, and wrap 2 of them up. to make it bigger and just whatever. I just am so grateful for the opportunity. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Green Warriors. And thank you to my husband, right behind the
Yes.
scenes. So, and thank you, Angela, for
Yes.
all that you have helped me through in my earlier years, and even now, my earlier years, I should say, my earlier healing months.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So Jennifer, what's your final take-home message for our Green Warriors today?
Well, you're not alone. You don't have to be alone. There is hope, and there's a lot to navigate. But if you connect with community like this, you'll find that there's a lot of support, and I think support is super important. And you can be successful if you set your mind to it and you figure out what's safe for you. You can be successful in your journey. I'm living proof of it. I can jump and do all kinds of things that I couldn't do before. And so that's what I would say. Believe in yourself. And again, be kind to yourself.
Green Warrior, tell us, what are you going to remember? One of my takeaways is about the weighted desk, which I'm still kind of exploring, about how you don't want to just keep all the weight on the front of it. You want to balance it out a little bit and fix your posture. So that's very interesting. I also wanted to thank Jess Task Voice. She did the countdown and the promos and the thumbnails. She is just so talented, and she's so helpful in helping us to get the word out about our broadcast. And I am so excited because Jess Task Voice is going to tell us who's coming up next. And it's going to be one of my favorite people in the whole world.
Looking for whole food, plant-based, SOS-free recipes that actually taste good? Amy's hubby Rick will be cooking up some yummy food on Wednesday, September 11th, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, on Be Green with Amy Live.
I'm so excited. Anyway, it's going to be so much fun. He's such a great cook. I wanted to thank you, Green Warrior, for joining us today. Your engagement and your support make these discussions meaningful and impactful. And I hope that you're feeling inspired to take a closer look at your food choices and make some positive changes for your health and well-being. Because remember, every bite that we take is an opportunity to nourish our bodies and become the healthiest versions of ourselves. So please stay tuned for more empowering content. Please subscribe to my channel and to Jennifer's social media as well, and share our message with others who you think can benefit from this, because together as Green Warriors, we can make a meaningful difference in the world. And as a special thank you to all of you, I'm offering you 5 free recipes. If you go to begreenwithamy.com/join, I will send them to you, and some fun pictures of me doing some fun things that maybe you wouldn't think that somebody in their later years could do. And I wanted to, again, thank all of you. Please go ahead and take your right hand and grab your left shoulder, and take your left hand and grab your right shoulder. Now squeeze, because that's a hug from me to you and from me to you, Jennifer. You've been so wonderful today, as always. And if you would like to join me and Jennifer, I'm going to be saying my tagline with her, and you can type it in the comments if you like. Are you ready?
Come say it with me, honey. Yeah, I'm going to have.
Oh, wait. Oh, go ahead. We'll wait.
Okay, go. Ready?
Okay. Are you ready? Here we go. Until I see all of you again, remember, be strong.
Be strong.
Be well.
Be well.
And be
green. Woo!
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you, hubby.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Green Warriors. It was so nice for all of you to join us today, and I hope we get to see you again really soon.
Now you can get 5 free whole food, plant-based, SOS-free recipes from Be Green with Amy. Just click on the link in the show notes, and Amy will send you 5 free recipes, motivational quotes, and more, so you can be strong, be well, and be green.